This is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com and welcome to episode 70. I'm here live today recapping The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 10. And I am broadcasting live from shelfaddiction.com/podcast. Whether you're watching on Periscope or listening live via shelfaddiction.com or listening via Spreaker, leave me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on last night's episode. If you enjoyed the live episode, please go ahead and share it on Twitter right now. Show your support by rating the podcast and leaving a positive review on iTunes. Those podcasts can be found on the Spreaker app, iTunes, Google Play Music, the Stitcher app, and more. Lisa, my pop culture co-host, isn't here today, but I'm happy to share my thoughts on last night's episode. If you want to comment on something you've heard during today's episode, comment now, or you can find me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Thank you for joining me live, whether you're listening right now or later. Thank you for streaming. Thank you for downloading the episode. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. As you heard, earlier, I'm doing something a little bit different today. I'm actually streaming in two places. In addition to the regular spot where the podcast runs, I'm also streaming on Periscope. So if you're watching on Periscope and you like The Walking Dead, feel free to comment and I will try my best to see your comment, read your comment, and respond to it and all that good stuff. If you're listening on any of the regular places, on Spreaker or on shelfaddiction.com, feel free to jump on in the chat and leave your comments as well. So let's jump right in. So last night's episode, wow, it was like really good. I think it was better than the return episode. And there was a lot going on in this episode. We got to spend a lot of time, with the gang that we're used to. We had a happy reunion, and we've made a lot of forward progress toward, the end game, which is taking out Negan and the Saviors, right? So my favorite part, I'm just going to jump to that. And also, I should mention spoilers, you guys. This is probably going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, you might as well just back out now because I don't want to be accused of spoiling anything. So pretty much after the mid-season premiere last week, we had a nicely balanced episode again. And my favorite part was the reunion between Carol and Daryl. I just love that. And how we got to that was really awesome. So let's backtrack a little bit. So obviously we pick up at the end of last episode where Rick and his team are surrounded by this new group. And obviously this new group, they seem almost like, I guess they're definitely scavengers. I guess their little place where they hide out, I guess some people call it the Thunderdome. I think I've heard some people mention that today. And it kind of has that feeling, it's like a junk pile of junk, when they collect things. They just collect things and they do what they will. So it was interesting to see Rick kind of in his own, back in his groove, convincing people to do what he wants. But is it easy for him? No, it is not. Of course, he has to go through a trial to convince them to come to his side. So that was pretty interesting. So, we're not really sure what their deal is, why they're doing what they're doing, but we do find out what happened to Gabriel. And that was actually pretty cool as well. I mean, some of us thought Gabriel was doing something honorable, and some of us thought that Gabriel just really jumped ship. Not me. I didn't think he jumped ship, not at all. And I was glad that through this episode we were able to hear what happened to him, right? So we know that he did take all the supplies and more, and he left a clue on purpose, hoping that Rick and the gang would come along and find him. He was actually losing hope when Rick showed up, so that was awesome. Now, as far as that's concerned, so we know Rick is making huge leaps and bounds toward the end game. We see that he is, gathering people, and now he needs to gather weapons. And that was kind of funny. The whole exchange between him and the lead woman from that group, the whole negotiating thing, I found that hilarious. He's like, I'll give you a third, of what we find. She's like, no, I want half. I want guns. I want this. And the whole negotiating I found pretty funny, but it was actually pretty cool. So I do like her. I like the group. They're kind of, dingy or whatnot, but I like it. I'm feeling it. And I also like that we also, toward the end of the episode, got a little glimpse into what was next, right? So they really clearly left the door open for, Rick and Tara to... They really left the door open for Rick and Tara to find the people at the shore, Oceanside, that's their name. So being that Tara is, she knows where the Oceanside people are. She knows what weapons they have. And the fact that he kind of says, you've been the furthest, tell us where not to go. She kind of knows where to go. And that is awesome. So with that said, so we know that we're going to come in contact with the Oceanside group again. And we also know that this group, I'm not sure what their name is exactly, but we know that they're not going to wait forever for their guns. So they are on a time restraint for sure. So I'm curious to see how that rolls out in the next episode. Now, I really did, going back to Carol and Daryl, I really loved their reunion. It was really cool. I love how Daryl found out about Carol. I really liked that, Morgan didn't just outright tell him. Obviously, he couldn't. He was trying to protect Carol. And same for Daryl, essentially. All he wants to do is protect Carol. He was gung-ho to, start this all-out fight with the Saviors, and he changed his mind at the last minute when he figured out, wait, the person who could get injured here is my friend. So, of course, he put the brakes on that. He did, put his foot down. If one hair on her head, type of thing, if she coughs, whatever, I'm going to kill you if something happens to Carol. So I like that he stood up for her. And, they are always like two peas in the pod, the two of them. And, of course, it was kind of cool how they go, the people from the kingdom go and they give her some peach cobbler. And of course she is disgruntled, but she takes the cobbler, and then they come back and knock on her door again. And, she's all fit to be tied, probably ready to curse him out or something. And there is Daryl. And of course it was really heartwarming to see them kind of reconnect and, hug each other. And, I know a lot of people out there were shipping those two, but I never did. They've always been just really cool friends, and now they're comrades, and they understand each other. So they have a different kind of relationship. So that said a lot to me. And I know that Carol would come to their aid the minute she found out what really happened. So, of course, Daryl takes it upon himself to kind of lie to her. Not kind of. He does lie. He lies to her. And he does it in the name of protecting his friend, right? Which is honorable. But that makes me wonder, what will happen for Carol to find out the truth? Will she find out on her own? Will that little kid die? The kid that's been in training? What will happen to keep things... pull Carol in. Something's going to happen to pull Carol in. Just like something will happen to bring King Ezekiel in. So last week, Lisa and I were kind of talking about that a little bit. And I do feel like that kid is going to die. I really do. The writing's on the wall. It's going to happen. But the question remains, what will happen to bring Carol in? What would that catalyst be? And that is something I'm not sure on. Now, let's see. What else do I need to talk about? I don't know. There's nothing really much else going on. But just to, I guess wrap up a few thoughts. I'm not going to be here long today. It was a really good episode. Lots going on, but we were centralized, right? So, of course, we were dealing with the kingdom and this new group that Jadis is the head of, and dealing with Rick, making his team larger. So I did also think that it was really cool that Rick grabbed Michonne the dog statue. Do you guys remember that? I actually remember that from, I think it was season 3. She was out scavenging with Carl, and I think she found a rainbow dog or something. It was a really ugly dog. And so that is kind of homage to, a cat, rainbow cat. So that kind of paid some homage to that. And that was kind of cool. And I also, like that Daryl left things with Carol on a good note and he headed to Hilltop, right? So we know that he's about taking down the Saviors. He's about taking Negan down, and he means business. And, now that he feels he needs to protect Carol as well as the rest of the team, he is out. It's done. So I wonder what will happen when he reaches Hilltop. Of course, Maggie will welcome him back. Hopefully he won't get caught too quickly. So also, I don't know. I like the Junkyard group, right? What did you think of the Junkyard gang, I guess, that for lack of a better term, since they don't have an official name? Do you think that Rosita will be behind them for the trip for the guns? Do you think she's going to split off on her own? What do you think? So those two things. So first, what do you think of the the Junkyard gang? I think that they're definitely going to play a major role when it comes down to taking Negan out. I know that they are up against the clock in that, they really want their guns. They want their guns, and they're, 1/3 of the winnings, as they call it. So obviously they're going to be up against the clock, and Rosita is causing a ruckus. She doesn't want to go with the group. She doesn't want to go with the plan. So I'm sure, something's going on with Rosita. I don't know what exactly. So all those things are kind of brewing in the background, leading up to something big. And I wonder what next week will hold. I have a feeling we're going to see the Saviors again. I have a feeling we're going to see Hilltop, obviously. And maybe Oceanside next week. I'm not sure. Maybe the week after. We will see. But this is definitely one of my favorite episodes thus far of the season. Maybe top 3 for sure. And I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. And hopefully, Lisa will be back with me next week, and you guys can listen to us, chatter on together about The Walking Dead. So thanks for checking in on this short and sweet episode, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys. That's it for today's live episode. Before you go, please subscribe to the podcast. It's found on shelfaddiction.com, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, the Spreaker app, and more. Thanks for listening. Until next time, happy viewing. Bye, guys.